Hi. I'm gonna take, I hope you're having fun. I'm sorry it's so fucking hot. We didn't plan that, but man, it can get hot here. Today's a lot better though, right? That's what I'm feeling, yeah. I'm gonna take a few minutes to defend this following assertion, and it's just, I think it's full of profundity. We collectively, CrossFitters, affiliates, trainers, and you're all gonna be L1 trainers here very shortly. We sit collectively in unique possession of an elegant solution to the world's most vexing problem. And it may be so elegant that it's optimal. And I'm just going to defend all of that and elaborate now. So let's talk about the world's most vexing problem. Let's talk about an elegant solution. And talk about, is it optimal? Like how could it be better? Let's talk about that problem first. The problem is chronic disease. Anyone got a sense of what chronic disease is? Jeremy, what's chronic disease?
Any disease that affects you as you go on that's inevitable?
Yeah, but not inevitable. With a lifestyle, sure. One way to address this, yeah. Yeah, that is a common kind of NIH definition, and it doesn't get better on its own, right? Tends to get worse and worse. One way to look at this is just give you a list of chronic conditions, and I'm pulling from a single list in a single article that was published in the Comprehensive Journal of Physiology. Author's name was Booth, and the date is 2012, and the article was entitled lack of exercise is a major cause of chronic disease. And so it opens with a list of chronic conditions for which they support with almost 800 studies that point to these chronic conditions having as their major cause or primary cause a lack of exercise. And so I just want to give you the list. I hate reading lists, but it's a neat list, and you need to hear it. Accelerated biological aging, low VO2 max, sarcopenia, metabolic syndrome, obesity, insulin resistance, prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, coronary heart disease, peripheral artery disease, hypertension, stroke. It just goes on and on. These flies are great. Congestive heart failure, there's cancers in there, obesity, ton of shit that you don't want. And if you start looking at what can go wrong with it, kind of a neat game you can play where I can put up 5 buckets here. A big one, chronic disease, and then I've got things kinetic, microbic, genetic, and toxic. And we can stand here and play a game where you name horrible things that can happen to you. Let's just do a few. Give me some rare horrors and some common horrors. So throw something at me, Dustin. Ebola, yeah, that would be microbic. So we put the Ebola right here. Car accident, that's kinetic, goes right there. Arthritis. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Could be genetic. ALS is a neurological disorder with origins in what? Do we know? Yeah, that's what I'm not sure where to put that one. Give me another one. Diabetes. That's going to go, type 1 probably belongs on, but type 2, T2 is going to go on here. It's chronic. What else? Down syndrome, genetic. Bad parents.
Fatty liver disease.
What?
Fatty liver disease.
Yeah, both the alcoholic and the non-alcoholic are going to be in here. Yeah. What else? Crohn's. Autoimmune disorder. I'm going to put it in here.
What about psychological things like depression, anxiety?
A whole bunch of it I'm going to put in here. A whole bunch of it, including addiction. Yeah. So, and then look, if someone shoots heroin into you and kills you, it was toxic. If you did it to yourself, it's chronic disease. This accounts for about 70% of deaths nationally. And this stuff in here and undifferentiated, about 30% what's left. In terms of medical expense, 86% is going over here and about 14% here. These are largely accidents. Get chopped, cut, dropped, stabbed, bacteria, virus, fungus, prion, and the wrong parents, and then environmental toxins, being poisoned, who knows how and where. But what's really interesting about this, and I said we sit with an elegant solution. I'm using elegance in the mathematical sense of marked by simplicity and efficacy, and the solution is extremely elegant because basically it's this chronic disease has two causes, and one is sedentarism. That is the habit or practice of not moving, of not exercising, and two, excessive consumption of carbohydrate, particularly refined. Start there. Those are the two causes. And our solution is off the carbs, off the couch. You're going to get the nutrition lecture later. Pay close attention. If you're on a high carb diet, you're not doing CrossFit. Not yet, you're not. Carbohydrate restriction is one of the hallmarks of this program, and it is at the heart of the successes that we've had. Physiological successes, business successes, affiliate successes. So, chronic disease, it's simple. Now, the resulting complications of chronic disease are not simple. Glycation, oxidative stress, inflammation, that's complicated. The politics around it are very complicated. And the reason it was gotten wrong for so long is also full of complications, but the causes are not. There's a simple solution. But if you buy into that simplicity, if you believe me that it's sedentarism and excessive consumption of refined carbohydrate, I'm going to tell you, I'm betting the ranch, the program, everything on that. I'm as sure of that as I've ever been sure of anything in my life. That's the simplicity. But that also means, and this is really important, it means that it's self-inflicted. You get that? Understand that not getting off the couch is willful behavior. A decision is made to not get up. And the sugar doesn't come in, it's not an accident. No one's giving it to you while you're sleeping. You have to get up and actively do it. It's willful behavior. It's chronic willful behavior that becomes deadly. And if you think there's a bigger problem in the world, share with me what it is that can match taking 70% of the current stock of humanity and presenting them with a premature, unnecessary death. Do you know of anything like that? There's nothing like that. These are issues of luck. And my favorite kinetic mishap is the tire that comes off the car going the other way on the freeway and it bounces the center divider and comes through the windshield and takes you out. And I was thinking of that one, and so I went to YouTube and I actually found a video of it happening. And this fucking car the other way, you see the tire, and then the next thing you know, it's in the front seat. I mean, it's a good thing he didn't duck or he would have leaned into it. There's nothing you're going to do to protect from that. There's no amount of awareness that's going to save you. What do you think of the people who cruise around with the masks on? Living in fear of germs, or are they contagious? I never know what to make of that. What's your take? Are they afraid of getting sick, or are they afraid they're going to get me sick? It just makes me kind of stay away. I just ruined my setup. Preventable. Simple, self-inflicted, preventable. Much of it's reversible. But at the moment that you get off the couch and do 10 squats when yesterday you did none, and then you go to the refrigerator and you have a meal that is low glycemic. Suppose it looks like some turkey breast and some broccoli, and some cashews. Now you've just broken the hyperglycemic nightmare. Have lowered your blood sugar, and you've exercised. You know what you did? You eliminated the root cause of your chronic disease. In the space of time it took you to do 10 squats and go to the refrigerator and have one fucking meal that wasn't deranged, you've eliminated the root cause. So Dr. Pfluger's sitting in my house and he says, you know what they call that when you eliminate the root cause? I go, no, what do they call it? He says, they call that a cure. You've cured your chronic disease. You're not better yet, but you've removed the underlying cause. And it doesn't come back until you have another shitty meal, or the next day don't do 11 squats. If you're sore, do 10. If you're really sore, don't do any. You've earned a day off. But you got to do something every day. Isn't that simple? We're the only ones teaching this. I was just at a health conference. There were 186 speakers there. I was the only one there addressing the problem and the solution. So this is yours. You can take this and run with it. And what you're able to do is amazing. Let's take a look at this again. Sickness, wellness, and fitness. You've seen this already, right? Okay, and we can't find a value that doesn't sit well ordered here. And these would include things like HDL, triglycerides, A1C, your glycated hemoglobin. It's a measure of how insulin resistant, how much diabetic you're headed towards. Blood pressure. And then the elements of body comp, body fat, bone density, and muscle mass. It's easy to come up with levels with values for each of these that are considered normal or healthy. And then there are values that are typically expressed only in people that are very fit. And then there's some values that we all would agree on to be pathological, okay? These pieces here are manifestation of chronic disease. They are secondary and additional cause of chronic disease. And they are also predictors of chronic disease, and some of them are all three. Let's look at two of them. A1C. At a certain value, you are now diabetic. It's that is the standard. You got an A1C of what's the number? Over 6? Where's diabetes start? 8? Okay, good. You know, who cares what the number is, right? It's somewhat arbitrary. Lower is better. You know, this is when you want to turn a 9 into a 5. A little different than some of the other work we've done. So at a certain level, you're diabetic. But also, this is an outstanding predictor of coronary artery disease. And the rest of all of chronic disease. Blood pressure. You know, you got 200 over 130, you're sick. 120 over 70 is fine. You know, 130 over 55 is fit. Now, what control these things, what moves you from sickness to wellness to fitness and moves these variables, how do we move you from well to fit? What do we do to get you from sick to well? CrossFit is the answer. It's meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar. Really simple. Really simple. Here's the essential message here. These are these symptoms, manifestation, cause, and predictor of chronic disease. These things are the dependent variables of an independent variable, causal independent variable that's lifestyle choices. What'd you do for exercise and what'd you eat? Controls the sickness, controls your health. And I got some docs here today with us. And what's really neat about this, and you know, we've used this analogy before, I'm going to share it with you. If one of you drops here in the middle of a workout, you need medical attention. You know, it's an acute scene, and the fitness guy isn't going to help you. But it's very likely you needed something beforehand. And the analogy we're using is the doctors are lifeguards, and the trainers, the CrossFit trainers, are swim coaches. And the world is in desperate need of you delivering to the rest of humanity, to all the non-CrossFitters, this wonderful, wonderful message. This is the best thing happening in the boxes. 14,000 gyms. Each one is a lifeboat against this tsunami of chronic disease that's going to take 70% of the people out there.